The sun of planet Astronine was setting, painting the sky in red and purple. The colony lights slowly turned on, glowing like tiny stars in the desert land. Commander Darius stood outside the main gate, waiting for the young girl he had raised for many years. Her name was Lyra, stubborn, emotional, but brave. She had grown up calling him father, even though he never forced her to. But today was different. Today, everything was breaking. Lyra marched toward him with anger burning in her eyes. Her fists were tight. Her voice was already shaking before she even spoke. Darius noticed, but he stayed calm. He had seen wars, monsters, and death. But nothing scared him more than the pain in Lyra's eyes. "You lied to me!" Lyra shouted. "You're not my father. You never were." Her voice cut through the quiet evening like a blade. A few soldiers nearby turned their heads, shocked. Darius did not move. His face stayed strong, but inside, something heavy pulled at his heart. "Lyra," he said softly, "please listen." "No." She cried. "All these years, you made me believe you saved me because you loved me. But the truth is, I was just a mission, a task, a responsibility." Darius looked down. He wished he could explain everything. He wished he could tell her why he took her in, how he found her, why he protected her from the world. But the truth was complicated, dangerous, something she wasn't ready for. "I did what I had to do," he said quietly. "That's right," she answered bitterly. "You had to. It wasn't love. It wasn't family. I was just someone you picked up." A strange wind blew through the colony, carrying dust across the empty land. The sky grew darker, and small silver lights appeared far above, moving in unnatural patterns. No one noticed them yet, not even Darius. All attention was on the girl whose world was falling apart. Lyra's chest rose and fell quickly. She felt betrayed. She felt lost. Her entire life suddenly felt like a lie. "I don't want to stay here anymore," she said. "I don't want to be with someone who hid my real past from me." Darius finally lifted his eyes. The pain he felt was deeper than any wound he had taken in battle. "Lyra, I never wanted to hurt you." "Then why?" she asked. "Why hide the truth? Why pretend to be my father?" A long moment passed. The wind grew colder. The strange silver lights in the sky grew brighter. "Because I thought it would keep you safe," Darius finally said, but Lyra didn't understand. She felt anger pushing her away, farther than she had ever been. Her voice cracked when she spoke again. "You're not my father. You never were. And I don't need you." The words stabbed him, but he didn't show it. He simply nodded, as if accepting a punishment he believed he deserved. "If you truly want to leave," he said gently, "I won't stop you." Lyra stepped back. She didn't expect him to let her go so easily. For a moment, her anger weakened. For a moment, she almost cried. But pride held her together. "Fine," she whispered. "I'm leaving tonight." And she turned away from him. As she walked toward the desert, the sky suddenly flickered with a strange glow. A soft humming sound filled the air. The soldiers looked up, confused. Darius's eyes narrowed. He felt something he had not felt in years: danger. The silver lights in the sky shifted, forming a circle. A pulse of energy spread across the land like a wave. Lyra felt it too. She stopped for a second and looked back at the sky. Her heart raced, but she shook her head. No, she wouldn't turn back. Not now. Not after everything. Behind her, Darius whispered to himself, "They are waking. Why now?" But he could not call her back. He gave her freedom, even if it broke him. The last thing Lyra heard as she left the colony was the low, distant rumble of something ancient moving in the sky, something that had been waiting for her return for many years. And so, the girl who rejected the only father she ever knew stepped into a dangerous world. Unaware that her past was finally coming for her, the desert night of Astronine was colder than Lyra expected. As she walked farther from the colony lights, her anger slowly faded, replaced by a strange emptiness. The sky above her still carried the silver lights from earlier, but she tried to ignore them. She did not want to think about Darius. She did not want to feel guilty. Not now. Ahead of her, a small trading outpost stood like a dim island in the darkness. Ships landed and left every hour, carrying workers, explorers, and smugglers across the galaxy. Lyra planned to join one of those ships and never look back. A tall man in a dusty coat greeted her at the outpost entrance. His cybernetic eye glowed faintly. "You look young to travel alone," he said. "I can take care of myself," Lyra answered firmly. He studied her for a moment, then nodded. "There's a cargo ship leaving in 20 minutes. Captain Mira. She takes anyone as long as they work." Lyra paid him and headed toward the landing area. But as she walked, she felt the strange energy pulse again, soft but powerful, moving through the ground and into her bones. She shivered. Far behind her, the colony alarms began to ring faintly. She turned for a second, confused, but the wind carried the sound away. "I'm not going back," she told herself. The cargo ship was old but strong, with heavy armor plates and glowing thrusters. Captain Mira stood near the boarding ramp, shouting orders to her crew. She had short silver hair, sharp eyes, and a voice like steel. "You." Myra pointed at Lyra. "Looking for a job?" "Yes," Lyra said. "I can fight, fix things, whatever you need." Mira raised an eyebrow. "Fight you? You look like a runaway." "I'm not," Lyra insisted. Myra studied her face, saw the hurt, the pride, the determination. She sighed. "Fine, you load crates. No trouble." And just like that, Lyra stepped onto a new path. The ship lifted off, shaking as it powered through the dusty air. Lyra watched Astronine grow smaller beneath her. She didn't know why, but her chest tightened as the colony disappeared from view. Darius must be looking for her. Or maybe he had already given up. She pushed the thought away. The crew of the ship was rough but friendly. A mechanic named Jox, a young man with metal arms, showed her how to secure cargo. "Captain Mira is strict," Jox warned. "Don't make her angry." Lyra nodded and worked silently. But as the ship traveled deeper into space, she began to notice something strange. Whenever she became stressed or afraid, the lights above her flickered. The air felt thicker. And once, when she touched a broken panel, it sparked alive instantly. Jock stared at her. "How did you do that?" I don't know," she whispered. He didn't believe her, but he said nothing. Later that night, Lyra sat alone in her small cabin. Outside, stars stretched like an endless ocean. She tried to sleep, but her mind kept returning to the strange silver lights in the sky. And to Darius's sad eyes when she left, her heart ached. She hugged her knees, trying to stay strong. Just then, a loud alarm rang through the ship. "Pirates incoming!" Someone shouted. Lyra jumped to her feet. The hall shook violently. Mira yelled over the intercom, "All crew to positions." Lyra grabbed the metal bar for balance as the ship tilted sharply. Red lights flashed. She could hear engines struggling. Jax ran past her. "Move! They're trying to board us." Lyra followed him to the cargo bay. She wasn't a soldier, but she wasn't helpless either. She picked up a shock baton from the wall. The ship rattled again, this time harder. A pirate vessel slammed into them, and metal claws locked onto the hull. Lyra's heart pounded. She had left Darius because she thought she didn't need him. But now, facing real danger, she felt the weight of her choice. The cargo bay door exploded open, and masked pirates stormed in with blasters. Lyra froze for a second. Then something strange happened. Her vision flashed white. Her heartbeat echoed like thunder. The air around her shimmered. A pirate aimed at her. Lyra raised her hand instinctively. A sudden burst of energy shot out. The pirate flew backward, crashing into crates. Lyra stared at her glowing hand, shocked. The crew stared at her, too, fear and amazement in their eyes. What are you?" Jocks whispered. Lyra couldn't answer. She didn't know. All she knew was this: something inside her was waking up. Something powerful. Something connected to the past she ran from, and the galaxy had just begun to notice. The cargo ship drifted in silence after the pirate attack. Smoke filled the hallways, and alarms flickered weakly. The crew worked fast to control the damage, but everyone kept looking at Lyra with mixed emotions: fear, confusion, and something like respect. Lyra sat alone on a metal bench in the medbay. Her hands still trembled. She could feel warmth, like hidden fire, pulsing under her skin. She didn't understand what she had done during the attack. She only knew one thing: it wasn't normal. Captain Mira walked in with slow steps. Her face was stern as always, but her eyes held curiosity. "You threw a man across the room with whatever that was," Mira said. "Do you want to explain?" Lyra swallowed. "I don't know how it happened. I didn't even think. My body just reacted." Mira crossed her arms. "People don't just react with energy blasts. Not unless they're enhanced, or something else." Her voice was calm, but Lyra felt pressure. She lowered her head. "I'm not enhanced, I'm just me." Mira studied her silently, then finally sighed. "You saved my crew. For now, that is enough." Then she left. Lyra's heart eased for a moment, but her mind did not rest. She kept thinking about the strange feeling like a sleeping beast inside her had opened one eye. The next morning, repairs continued. Lyra joined the work crew. Jocks handed her a toolkit. "Don't worry," he said with a shrug. "Myra won't kick you out. She likes useful people." Lyra forced a small smile. "I'm not dangerous. I think." "Maybe," Jocks replied, "but dangerous isn't always bad." They crawled under a damaged engine panel. Sparks flew as Jocks cut through a broken pipe. Lyra held a flashlight, but as she moved it closer, something odd happened. The damaged wiring suddenly glowed and repaired itself. Jocks dropped his cutter. "What did you just do?" I didn't do anything," Lyra said, panicking. But the evidence was right there. Energy moved toward her, not away. It wanted to obey her. Jocks looked at her with wide eyes. "Normal people can't fix machines just by holding a light." Lyra backed up. "Please don't tell the others. I don't want to be studied or locked away. I just want to live free." Jocks hesitated, then nodded. "Fine, but you need to understand something. Powers like that, they attract attention, the good kind and the very bad kind." His voice was serious now. Lyra understood. This wasn't only strange, it was dangerous. That night, as the ship floated near a red nebula, Lyra sat near the observation window. The stars moved slowly, beautiful and silent. But her mind was storming. Why do I have these powers? What am I? Did Darius know? Is this why he never told me the truth? Every question tightened her chest. She remembered how Darius always warned her not to wander outside the colony border alone. How he always watched the sky like something might come for her. How he never spoke about the day he found her. Maybe it was never about hiding her past. Maybe it was about protecting her future. A cold shiver ran through her. Footsteps approached. Captain Mira stood beside her, arms behind her back. "You're troubled," Mira said. Lyra nodded quietly. "I want answers, but I'm scared of them." Mira looked at the nebula. "The galaxy doesn't give answers easily. You must hunt for them." "How?" Mira's voice lowered. "We are heading to Station 11, a large information hub. Criminals, traitors, scientists all meet there. If there's data on people like you, it will be there." Lyra felt a spark of hope. "You'll help me search?" "For a price," Mira replied with a small smirk. "You owe me for saving you." Lyra laughed softly. I guess I do. But deep down, she was grateful. She wasn't alone anymore. Not entirely. Hours later, the ship entered hyperspace. Everything blurred into streaks of light. Lyra closed her eyes, letting the vibration of the engine soothe her. Then suddenly, a sharp noise rang through her mind, a voice. A whisper, not from outside, from inside her. Lyra. Her eyes shot open. She looked around. No one was there. Lyra, come back. The whisper grew clearer. It was not Darius. It was not human. It was something old. Something watching her. She pressed her hands over her ears, shaking. No. Stop. But the voice continued. You cannot run from what you are. Terror rushed through her because for the first time, Lyra realized her powers were not awakening by accident. Something was calling them. Awake. Something that knew her true origin. Something that wanted her back. Station 11 floated in space like a giant metal city, glowing with thousands of neon lights. Ships of every shape and size came and left nonstop. Traders shouted deals, robots carried supplies, and criminals watched from dark corners. It was a place full of danger and full of opportunity. When Myra's ship landed, Lyra felt nervous. Not because of the station, but because the voice inside her head still whispered sometimes, soft, distant, and unknown. She tried to ignore it, but it followed her like a shadow. Stay close, Myra warned. This station eats people who walk alone. Jax nodded beside Lyra. And don't show your powers. If people find out, they'll sell you before you can scream. Lyra forced a shaky smile. I'll be careful. But inside, she knew something. Her powers were getting stronger and harder to hide. For days, Lyra worked and trained with Myra's crew. She learned to pilot small ships, fix engines, fight with different weapons, and trade goods. She picked up skills faster than anyone expected. Sometimes, things came to her naturally, almost too naturally. Myra noticed. Jax noticed. Even strangers noticed. Lyra started earning respect. Traders offered her jobs. Explorers asked her to join missions. Her confidence grew, and so did her reputation. One day, Myra tossed a small metal badge at her. Congratulations. You're now an official crew member. Lyra stared at the badge, speechless. She had never earned anything on her own before. Everything in the colony felt like Darius's effort, not hers. But this was hers. Thank you, she whispered. Myra smirked. Don't thank me, work harder, and Lyra did. She joined dangerous missions, traveling through asteroid fields, guiding ships through ion storms, trading with alien merchants, repairing machines no one else dared touch. Every time, something inside her responded, some instinct, some hidden knowledge, some rising power. Sometimes she heard the whisper again, grow stronger. You will need it. She didn't know if it was a warning or a promise. Weeks passed. Lyra became known across the station as the girl who solves impossible problems. She used her strange energy to heal machines, sense danger, and even protect her crew without revealing her full ability. But her success came with enemies. One night, as she walked alone through a quiet market tunnel, a group of masked hunters stepped in front of her. Their armor had strange symbols she had seen once before, in old dreams she didn't understand. Lyra of Astronine, the leader said. Come with us, you belong to us. Lyra stepped back. I don't belong to anyone. They raised their weapons, glowing spears. Not from this galaxy. Lyra's heartbeat sped up. The voice inside her whispered urgently, Danger. They know what you are. She raised her hands, ready to defend herself. Energy crackled at her fingertips, but before the fight began, Myra appeared behind the hunters. She fired a stun blast into the air. Back off, Myra growled. She's under my protection. The hunters didn't move. Their leader pointed one claw-like finger at Lyra. This is not over. She cannot run forever. Then they vanished into the shadows. Lyra collapsed against the wall, shaking. Mira grabbed her shoulders. Who were they? Mira demanded. I don't know, Lyra whispered. But they know me. And I think they've been searching for me for a long time. Mira's jaw tightened. Then you need to be stronger, much stronger. Strength came faster than expected. Mira allowed Lyra to lead missions, and Lyra excelled. Her mind was sharp, her instincts powerful, her decisions quick. She saved crews, weathered storms, and uncovered valuable resources. Soon, other captains offered her money, more than she ever dreamed of. Lyra sent none of it to Astra-9. She didn't know why. Maybe she was angry. Maybe she was ashamed. Maybe she was afraid Darius wouldn't want anything from her. But sometimes, late at night, she wondered if he was still waiting at the colony gate, or if he had already forgotten her. Still, she pushed forward. She built her own team. She bought her own ship. She became well known across nearby systems. Lyra was no longer a lost girl running from her past. She was a rising star. A force, someone impossible to ignore, but with fame came rumors. People began whispering about the girl with hidden power. Data hunters searched for her name. And somewhere deep in space, the silver lights she once saw above Astra-9 began moving again. They were not random lights. They were watchers. And now they had found her trail. Lyra stared at her reflection in her ship window one night. She looked older, stronger, harder. But as she placed a hand on the glass, she felt a sharp pain in her mind. Then she heard the whisper again, clear this time. Lyra, the truth is coming. You cannot rise forever without facing your beginning. Her heart trembled. She finally understood. To learn who she truly was, to face the hunters, to control her powers, she would need to return to the one place she swore she'd never go back to, Astra-9. And the man she once rejected, the man she called not my father, might be the only one who knew the truth. Lyra's ship drifted through silent space as she stared at the glowing star maps on her screen. The whispers inside her mind had gone quiet, but the silence felt even heavier. Something was waiting. Something was getting closer. For days she avoided sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw flashes, bright lights, broken images, strange shapes moving toward her. She never understood them. But now the visions were becoming clearer, sharper, almost like memories. One night while checking the ship's logs, she noticed a small blinking icon. Jocks had left a message. Lyra, come to the engine room. I found something you need to see. His voice sounded tense. Lyra rushed through the halls. When she entered the engine room, Jocks was holding a cracked metallic cube, small, old, and covered in strange markings. I found this stuck behind the main fuel column, Jocks said. Someone hid it here a long time ago. Lyra stepped closer. The markings on the cube, she had seen them before. On the hunter's armor. On the hologram of Subject 37. On her own nightmares. Her hands shook. Open it. Jocks nodded and pressed a sequence of buttons. The cube clicked, unfolded, and projected a glowing hologram. At first it was static, then a woman's face appeared, pale, tired, with silver eyes. Lyra gasped. The woman looked like her. The hologram recorded message began. If you are seeing this, Subject 37 has survived. Lyra's heart dropped. The woman continued. You were created in the Astra-9 laboratory by the Telestar program, not born created. You were designed to hold energy from beyond normal space. We believed you could save humanity or destroy it. Lyra stumbled back as if struck. No, this is wrong. I'm human. I'm just a girl. The hologram flickered. Commander Darius was assigned to protect you after the attack. He was the only one who refused to let the project continue. He saved you. Even from us. Lyra froze. Darius didn't lie. Darius didn't trick her. He saved her. Her throat tightened. She remembered his sad eyes the day she left. She remembered shouting that he wasn't her father. Jax placed a hand on her shoulder. Lyra, he wasn't hiding the truth to control you. He was hiding it to save you. Tears burned at her eyes, but she forced them down. Why didn't he tell me? Jax sighed. Maybe he was afraid you'd think you were a weapon. Or maybe he didn't want you to feel different. The hologram continued. If Subject 37 ever activates her energy, the Watchers will come. They will not stop. They want what is inside her. Lyra felt cold. The hunters, the whispering voice, the silver lights, everything made sense now. She wasn't being hunted because she was special. She was being hunted because she was dangerous. The hologram glowed brighter for a final message. Darius, if you still live, forgive us and protect her. She is the key. The cube shut down. Silence filled the room. Lyra didn't cry. She didn't scream. She simply stood still, letting the truth pour into her heart like icy rain. All this time, she believed she left the colony because Darius lied, but the truth was, she left because she didn't understand that he loved her more than anything, and now, because of her running, the hunters had found her. Later that night, Lyra sat alone in the observation deck. The stars felt closer, almost listening. She replayed the hologram in her mind again and again. Each word hurt, but each word also gave her strength. I was created, she whispered. But I'm still me. I decide who I am. Her hands glowed. Faintly, not from fear this time, but from clarity. Jax approached quietly. What will you do now? Lyra looked at him with steady eyes. I need answers, real answers. And there's only one place I can get them. Astronine? Jax asked. Lyra nodded. Yes, Darius knows everything. He has always known. And I owe him more than apologies. Jax sighed. If we go back, the hunters might follow. It could be dangerous. Lyra stood up. Running brought them closer. Facing the truth is the only way to stop them. She walked toward the control room with a new purpose burning inside her. No more running. No more fear. No more lies. She would return home. Not as a lost girl who shouted in anger, but as someone stronger, wiser, and ready to face her destiny. And maybe she hoped Darius would still be alive to forgive her. The stars outside shifted as her ship changed direction. Lyra was finally going back. Lyra watched the blue glow of hyperspace fade as her ship slowed near Astronine. The familiar planet appeared. In the window, dusty quiet, wrapped in red clouds. It should have felt like home. Yet her chest tightened with fear. This was where everything began. This was where everything broke. Jax stood beside her. You ready? No, Lyra whispered. But I'm going anyway. They landed in a small canyon, far from the colony gates. Lyra didn't want to alarm anyone, especially not after hunters had been following her trail. She stepped onto the sand. The wind smelled exactly as she remembered, dry, warm, and strangely comforting. But something was wrong. The sky above Astronine had changed. Strange silver patterns floated in the clouds like symbols written by invisible hands. Lyra felt a sharp pulse in her chest, as if her powers reacted to the patterns. They're here, she whispered. Who? Jax asked. Those who are chasing me, the Watchers. Jax tightened his grip on his blaster. Then we move fast. They approached the colony quietly. But Lyra's steps slowed when she saw the tall steel walls. Soldiers patrolled nervously, and alarm lights flickered. Astronine was preparing for battle. Lyra's heart dropped. This is my fault. Jax shook his head. No, this is the Watcher's fault. As they reached the gate, two guards pointed their rifles at her. Halt! Identify yourself. Lyra slowly removed her hood. The guards gasped. Lyra, you're alive. Commander Darius, he thought. Lyra stepped forward. Where's Darius? Is he okay? The guards exchanged worried looks. He's missing. Lyra felt the world blur. Missing? What do you mean missing? One guard explained, 2 nights ago, something appeared in the sky. A huge silver shape. Darius recognized it. He left alone. Said he had to protect the colony. Lyra closed her eyes. Her heartbeat trembled. He left. Because of her. Jax whispered. He went to face the threat alone. Lyra steadied herself. Take me to the command center. Inside the colony, old memories hit her. Children running through dusty streets, workers fixing machines, merchants shouting for customers. But now everything felt quieter, heavier. Everyone seemed afraid. At the command center, Lyra met an old friend, Talia, one of Darius's officers. Lyra. I can't believe. Talia ran to hug her, then froze when she saw the faint glow in Lyra's eyes. You've changed. I don't have time to explain, Lyra said. Tell me about Darius. Talia sighed. He left after receiving a coded message. It came from the desert. He said it was connected to your past. Lyra felt a chill. The hunters? No, Talia said. Something older, something watching him. Lyra clenched her fists. I have to find him. Talia hesitated. Lyra, Darius didn't want you to return. Lyra's voice broke a little. I know, but I have to. Everything happening now is because of me. Talia slowly nodded. Then you should see this. She led Lyra to a small room. On the table lay a device, Darius's personal recorder. Lyra picked it up with shaking hands. The last message played. Lyra, if you ever find this, I want you to know everything I did was to keep you safe. They're coming for you. But they must go through me first. His voice cracked. I hope you have found your own strength. You will need it. I am going to the place where I first found you. If destiny brings you back, meet me there. The message ended. Lyra wiped her eyes. He knew something was coming. He went alone. Jax put a hand on her shoulder. Then we go together. But before they could move, the colony shook violently. A deep roar echoed across the land. Alarms blared. The sky above Astronine turned bright silver. Talia ran to the window. They're here. Lyra looked up. Shapes moved inside the silver clouds, long, thin, glowing forms. They weren't ships. They weren't creatures. They were something in between. The Watchers had arrived. People screamed and ran for cover as beams of light shot toward the colony walls. The ground cracked. Energy pulses slammed into the towers. Jax grabbed Lyra's hand. We need to move. Lyra didn't run. She stepped forward. Her hands glowed. Her chest burned. Her powers awakened fully. The Watchers sensed her. The sky rippled like water, and one of the glowing shapes turned toward her. Jax shouted, Lyra, what are you doing? I'm done running, Lyra whispered. Her eyes glowed like stars. I'm finding Darius, and I'm ending this. She faced the sky, energy rising around her like a storm. Astra 9 was now a battlefield, and Lyra was finally ready to fight for the truth. The sky above Astra 9 glowed silver as the Watchers descended, long shapes twisting like living beams of light. The colony shook under the weight of their arrival. Buildings trembled, alarms sounded everywhere, and people ran for safety. Yet, among the chaos, Lyra stood firm. Her hands glowed brighter than ever, bright enough to push back the silver light around her. Jax shouted from behind, Lyra, we can't take them all. Lyra's voice was steady. I'm not here to fight them all. I'm here to find Darius. With a deep breath, she raised her arms. Energy burst from her palms, forming a shield that covered the colony gate. The Watchers paused, analyzing her. They recognized her. They wanted her. But Lyra didn't wait. She turned and ran into the desert, following the coordinates from Darius's last message. Jax ran beside her, struggling to keep up. Slow down, he yelled. I can't, Lyra replied. He's out there. And he's alone. The desert stretched endlessly, waves of sand glowing silver from the Watcher's light above. Strange winds blew across the dunes, carrying whispers that echoed through Lyra's thoughts. Return to us. Subject 37. You belong. To the stars. Lyra clenched her teeth. I belong to myself. They reached a rocky valley, a place Lyra faintly remembered. It was here, long ago, that Darius had found her as a small child. Back then, she didn't know the truth. Now, every step felt heavier. Suddenly, a blast of silver energy struck the ground in front of them. Lyra shielded Jax with her body. Stay behind me. A Watcher descended from the sky, its glowing body shifting into a humanoid shape, tall, faceless, terrifying. It spoke without a mouth. Subject 37. You were created for us. Return. Lyra lifted her chin. No. The Watcher raised its arm. Energy gathered around it. Then you will be taken. Before it attacked, a voice cut through the air. Stay away from her. Lyra spun around. Darius stood on a high rock, holding a plasma spear. He looked older, tired, and hurt, but unbroken. His armor was dented, his arm bandaged, but his eyes still carried the same strength she remembered. Lyra's breath caught. Darius. He glanced at her, just for a moment, and she saw everything in his eyes. Fear, relief, pride, and love. You shouldn't have come back, he said. I had to, Lyra replied, stepping closer. I needed to find you. The Watcher turned to Darius. You cannot protect her. Darius gripped his spear harder. Watch me. He jumped from the rock, stabbing the spear into the Watcher. The creature shrieked, not with sound, but with violent ripples of energy. Jax shouted, Behind you! Another Watcher descended. Lyra reacted instantly. She lifted her hand and released a bright burst of power. The second Watcher was thrown back, crashing into the canyon wall. Darius stared at her in awe. Your power, it's awakened. Lyra stepped toward him, tears in her eyes. I know who I am now, but I still choose who I want to be. Before he could answer, 3 more Watchers appeared, circling them. Darius whispered, There are too many. Lyra shook her head. Not if we fight together. She reached out her hand. He hesitated, then placed his hand in hers. The moment their fingers touched, Lyra felt something incredible, like a bridge of energy forming between them. Darius's strength flowed into her, and her power grew brighter, stronger, more stable. Jax watched, stunned. What is happening? Lyra understood now. Darius wasn't her biological father, but he was the one who raised her, the one who protected her. And her power responded to his bond, not her origin. Together, they faced the Watchers. Lyra lifted her hands, light swirling around her like a storm. This ends now. A massive wave of energy blasted outward, striking every Watcher in the valley. They screamed as their forms dissolved, their silver bodies breaking into particles that faded into the sky. The desert fell silent. Lyra collapsed to her knees, exhausted. Darius rushed to her side. You did it, he whispered. She looked up at him, tears streaming down her dusty face. Darius, I was wrong. You were my father all along. Maybe not by blood, but by everything that matters. Darius's eyes softened. I never needed blood to love you. Lyra grabbed his hands tightly. I left you with anger, and I came back with gratitude. I'm sorry for everything. Darius smiled gently. You came back home. That's what matters. Jax walked over, grinning tiredly. I hate to break the moment, but the colony still needs help. Lyra stood, feeling stronger than she ever had. Then let's protect them, together. And with Darius at her side, she walked back toward Astronine, not as a runaway, not as a weapon, but as someone who finally understood her true strength. She was Lyra, daughter by choice, warrior by destiny, and her story was only beginning.